So, welcome to the Inherent Podcast. I'm Taylor Draper, and with my co-host Mike Reginator. Today, we're talking about burnout in business, and as an entrepreneur, what does that mean?
Mm.
So, Mike, what do you define burnout as?
Well, I define it as a lot of things, but man, burnout is where you are just finally done. Um, you're disconnected. You're just wore out from everything. Burnout is just, I go back to a little bit of a survivor mode, but to me, in my experiences with burnout, is it's like I'm just done emotionally, physically, mentally.
Do you feel like there's like a ramp up to that point, or do you?
Yeah, it doesn't come all at once.
Right.
But when you recognize it, in the past, when I recognized it, it's all at once.
Yeah. So, what does like burnout look like for you? Like,
Um,
what happens to you?
well, for me, you start becoming a little bit depressed.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm constantly tired, even with a good night's rest. Even if I get 8, 9 hours of sleep, I'm still tired.
Hmm.
I'm irritable. I don't make. I'm finding I'm not making good decisions because I'm not thinking clearly.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a whole slew of things, but those will be the top things for me. What burnout kind of looks like.
Yeah.
What's a great thing for, I mean, for you? Was it?
For me, it's like I've been dealing with it for so long that I've been able to start recognizing when it's happening.
Mhm.
But for me, it's like I will not answer emails for like
Isolate.
days to weeks at a time. Yeah, like I'll go inward, I'll stop showing up to events. I will like just binge watch TV.
Yep.
Like for me, it's like I start noticing it when my executive dysfunction kicks in, which if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically like when it feels like you physically can't do something. So for me, it looks like I physically can't and like do simple tasks
Yeah.
because the overwhelm kind of comes in. Like I can't answer emails. I like forward phone calls that I should be taking. Like I reschedule meetings that I shouldn't have to reschedule. And it's yeah, for me those are like the classic signs that I'm burned out.
I've experienced every one of those. And for you, for me, I'm becoming better at identifying it along the way because, our bodies tell us so much if we pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But for like you, when you look at that and some of those things that you talk about, like, how do you combat that?
It's I have a routine now, thankfully. But yeah, so because I think a lot of like entrepreneurs and business owners suffer from burnout, and I think it's something that's being talked about a lot more lately
Yeah.
than I've noticed in the past, at least. And it's really cool that we as a society are kind of naming this,
Hmm.
naming this thing. Um, but for me, it's like, yeah, it's huge executive dysfunction. Like simple tasks become impossible. It becomes like there's a wall there. Um, it makes me feel just like a sack of shit.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it just makes me, which then spirals me further because it's like I'm burned out because I'm working 14 hours a day,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden I can't send an email because I have to do something else. And everything else seems more important than all these little tasks. And then the little tasks become this giant tidal wave
Yeah.
of stress
Yeah.
that it that are always just sitting in your head,
Yeah.
and you can't deal with it.
So you're pulling yourself down even further because you feel like, in your exact quote, a sack of shit. But it's because for me, it's like, why am I allowing this to happen?
Mm,
And I think there's a part of that too. I'd like to hear what you think about that. But for me, like a part of that is like, instead of pulling myself down and feeling like a crap and starting to beat myself up about it, is to be able to recognize that, step away. But it's not as easy as it sounds. Because
no.
when you look at, for me with burnout, it is cumulative, right?
Mm,
It adds up. and
It's like
working,
a snowball
it's a
effect.
snowball effect.
Yeah.
And, working up to that point to where all of a sudden you're just done. And then that paralysis
Hmm.
basically takes over and you just have no power over it.
Yeah,
I believe, and you got to work through it to get the power back. Is that kind of
absolutely.
like how you feel, or
No, absolutely. What for you, like, what are some of the, looking back on the last 10 years, maybe, like, what has been some of the effects of burnout, like in your personal and
man?
business life?
Well, so going back to what you're talking about, the personal effects really, comes to isolation. So what does that affect? It affects all my relationships. My relationship and responsibilities of just like hanging out with a buddy, going to lunch. I'll cancel it because I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I just, my mind is not there. Or, my wife and I go maybe on a dinner date and I'm like, I'm tired. Can we just hang out? And escaping that opportunity just to be able to connect.
It's like avoidance.
It's
Yeah.
avoidance. It's 100% avoidance. Um, so it definitely affects relationships. Too, I believe that, this could be a little controversial, but I believe men were created to perform.
Hmm.
And so it's affected my performance because I don't feel like I'm able to, talking about what you said, we can't do the simple tasks. All of a sudden, I'm not doing the job at the level that I should be able to, one. And then two, my expectations to be able to do it. So then I come end up beating myself up. So it becomes isolation. When I talk about depression, it talks about pulling myself down and just beating myself up about it. And those are the effects of it. And what does that do? That can really strain your business relationships. That can affect your relationship with your friends and affect your relationships with your significant other, your partner, whoever that is. And it just is a, I don't want to say it's a disease, but man, it's infectious.
Yeah. It sounds to me like it really messes with your self-worth.
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah, because you say you have this expectation of having to perform.
Yep.
And where does that come from for you, though? Why do you have to perform to be valuable?
Man,
I think
that
that I
dude,
think
I got, what episode do we want to do that on? Because, dude, I got, for me, performance, and I think I talked about it once on one of our other podcasts, but I was raised, and sometime when we get an episode, I like to share some of that story too. But I was raised, in a good family. I was protected. I had a house roof over my head and all, and so it was good that way. My dad was there, but it was different. Even in sports or school, I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it for others. Like when I played sports, man, did I get beat up if I did not do my job correctly, or I was a wide receiver, so if I dropped the ball or whatever, which didn't happen very often, but whatever. I mean, performance is based on me. Performance was based on what I could get recognized for
Hmm.
versus what is my worth to contribute to whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, or win or fail. And so to me, when I come to performance, it's like, okay, if I'm not always winning, I'm a loser.
well, I think you might need to hear this from me and maybe our listeners as well. But you are worth it just as you are. You don't need
Love
to
it,
achieve anything. You don't need to perform to be worth it. You are loved just as you are.
dude. Thank you, man. Love it. And everybody needs to know that. It's tough,
Yes. It's
but
tough. It's a hard one, man. It's one that I still have to remind myself every day too, but it's, and we can go whatever. Like we don't
yeah,
have to stick on the on the episode and stuff like that. Like I love these organic conversations because they lead sometimes to different topics, and
yeah,
that's okay. Like just like in life, we just let it flow,
we
you know?
do. Well, but even what you just said there, um, genuine, authentic, caring, to receive that sometimes though is tough. So
It's
like when
hard, yeah.
somebody says that to you and you're in a state of mind that's just not ready to receive it
Hmm.
and you don't even know it,
No,
but you don't, but you feel it.
yep.
How does that, how does that happen when somebody says that to you?
Well, it's hard because I've been trying to work on just receiving it. But initially, I think this is important. Like when someone told me they loved me, or when someone told me that they were proud of me, I immediately would like wipe it off my shoulder, almost like, oh, you're too kind, like,
Mhm.
oh, thank you, but I could have done better on XYZ or anything like that. And it's uh, I had to challenge myself to just be like, when someone says something nice or compliments me, I need to like close my eyes for half a second and just say, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, and just feel it and just feel what it's like in that moment. And in in like an organic conversation, that doesn't look weird or anything. Like
No,
it's just
it's
like,
not.
oh, thank you. Like it the other person can feel that you're actually receiving that,
Yeah.
and it makes that conversation more genuine even, and it makes that compliment more genuine even, which makes the complimentor like feel better. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, this he really received that, you know?
Well, because they are giving you a compliment, just not. I mean,
Yeah,
most of
most
my
of the time,
compliments,
yeah.
there can be shallow ones for sure.
Of course, yeah.
But like even what you just said earlier, you know, is real, genuine, authentic caring. So I wanted to, for me, it's like to your point, I think you shared is like I got to be willing to accept it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you with that when you say you got to be willing to accept it, what does that mean? Like, do
It
you
means you
feel
need to feel it in your body. Yeah,
right? But you're beating yourself up in the process of receiving that because you don't feel like you're worth it.
exactly. Yeah. No, initially it's like, yeah, it's like a feeling of like disgust sometimes, or it's like, ah, gross, you love me? Like,
Yeah,
weird, dude. Like, no. But like that, honestly, that was like my initial reaction like years ago when
yeah,
someone would tell me that, because I was like, I am so unworthy of love, or I'm so like I haven't done enough for your to earn your love, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And that's big for me because I grew up without siblings. I grew up without a dad. I grew up without a mom most of the time because she was working all the time. And so, like, to get anyone's attention, I had to do something. And I had to do something, and I had to either achieve something, or I had to create something, or I had to build something from nothing. And I was doing all these things for love, even though I thought like I was into them, like I was,
Or acceptance, or
or acceptance. Yeah, exactly.
primarily love, but acceptance.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing when you can just be like, you know what, like just existing is enough.
Yeah, and that's for people that that's powerful, but for people, even myself, but to understand, and I know this is going out there, right? We're going through a very challenging time in our world, and it's been going on for a while. But to say you are enough, right? That can go both ways. Is like, well, you are enough, but you still gotta step up a little bit, even to own that you are enough,
Yes.
right? So it gets pounded a little bit in a negative way. But to all the people out there, it does take a little bit of effort and energy to understand what that means. It's not a
Yes.
cliche. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
to say everybody is equal, although that's what we're aiming for. It just means you got to be able to accept that. So that goes back to self love.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say, is that like it starts with you. It doesn't start with anyone else. Like you yourself can do so much work. You yourself can believe that you're worthy of love. You
Yeah.
yourself can believe that you're a badass. You yourself can believe that like I'm doing enough even if you're not doing anything, you know? Like you don't need anyone else to tell you that, and that's what I think is beautiful and scary about this at the same time, because
Yeah.
it does take work. It does take work to believe that, and it does take work to do that. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. And my brain is so logistical all the time, and it's like so
Not you.
categorical
Not you.
and mechanical.
Yeah.
And so like for me it's been such an interesting journey of like, yeah, well, I'm enough, but I still want to do more,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's always that Oh, I don't know if it's to be content because I am content, but it still means I want to do more.
What does contentment mean to you?
Contentment for me means um, embracing and being satisfied with what you have at this moment in this day and that time in this
So gratitude,
gratitude,
right?
100%. And so it means that if everything ceased today, am I happy? And I want to be careful of that term too, because it's not always about, we always should always be happy, which that's what we strive for, but it's gratitude. That's the biggest thing.
Sure.
Am I grateful? Am I, when I look around, I got kids, I got grandkids, I got a wife, I got beautiful friends, um, you know, and being grateful for that moment. I think talked about this in one of the podcasts too, is that it's living in the moment. And for me, that's contentment. Can you live in that moment and not have any expectations?
That is a perfect transition back to burnout because for me, like when I'm noticing that I'm burnout, it's because I'm living too far into the future and scenarios that haven't even happened yet, or scenarios are that I'm making up in my brain,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, right. The 80%.
Yes, exactly. So like how do you even from moment to moment like be present with yourself? And how does that affect business and how does that affect your personal life?
You know, being present, and I've been doing really good at it lately.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks, man. For me, it's being present is knowing that there's an issue or problem. In fact, I had a call today, and it was a bummer call. What I learned, what was going on out there. Um, but I typically in the past I'd go, okay, what does this mean for the future right away?
Mhm.
Or what did I do wrong that caused it to be to this place?
So you put it on yourself a lot of
Correct.
the time.
And then I worried about, okay, what does this mean? How do I steer this to make this right for what the future projection in my mind is the end goal? Instead of now, today, when I had that call, I was like, okay, I can react. Usually I'd be upset, angry, and let those emotions take over. Today it was like, okay, what's the issue? Let it sit. Yeah, it's a bummer. What's going on? I don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's a little shady, but at the end of the day, for me to live present is like I can't own that. It's not my doing, and I can't control what the future is going to be. But we're still going to hit that mark. So it's just really being okay with whatever situation is, and not jumping the past or jumping the future. So it's just being okay with it and not blaming yourself for the situation, blaming myself for the situation.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that goes along with being able to identify what's yours and what's theirs. And I think that's
Yeah,
that's a really big topic. I
that's a
think
topic on itself.
I think as well it's oh man, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but one of the things that I've been really working on the last couple of weeks is like just letting go. And for me, like I always thought letting go was, this is apathetic or this is lazy even
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. But what I've realized is that letting go actually takes more work because true letting go means that you're putting the work in, you're putting the work in, you're putting the work in, and then you let it go.
Yeah,
You create, you build, and then you let it go.
yeah,
It's not yours to control. You're relinquishing control.
yep.
And I think
Awesome.
control is such a huge thing in
Got it.
men. We
Perfect.
have to control the outcome. We have to control this thing we're doing. We have to control this song we're making. We have to control this business we're building, whatever it might be. We are putting too much control on that instead of just letting that process of creativity, letting that process of building do its thing,
Dude,
like
that's
letting it go. And it goes into these conversations though, like with what you just said, like on the phone,
mm-hmm.
like having these conversations on the phone, you can be like, 100% this is a you thing. So I'm going to set my boundaries regarding it, but then
Yep.
I'm gonna let it go.
Yep. You said that really well, and it's control.
It is control, yes.
The only what is we all know this. What are the only things we can control?
Our actions and decisions.
You know,
And that's it.
how we respond, right? So today, I mean, perfect example of that. I had my granddaughter over. Promised her that she could come and see Sky. Sky's her dog, and she's what 2.5, almost 3 years old, so she doesn't forget stuff like that. So comes over. I'm working. I got my work done, and my granddaughter can be a little bossy. So she'll come over and say, "Sit, pop up." I'll sit. So that means come over and sit, pop up, right? And I wasn't really in the mindset or space to be able to do that, but I stopped. And because I couldn't control her, but I couldn't control my situation. And was it really what is the most important thing? Just to be able to sit. So
Mhm.
call that the universe, call that God, call that whatever you want. I call it my granddaughter. Be able just to sit and be present. So to all those things, you can't control everything. Well, I'll say you can't control anything.
And you shouldn't, yeah.
Right. So you said that perfectly in a sense of just let it kind of grow into its thing of whatever you are to give that momentum.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
that goes back to burnout too, right? Because you think about burnout is it's really about control,
right. Exactly.
right?
Yep. You're trying to control your outcome. You're trying to control the way that this meeting went. You're trying to control the way that, like what are my to dos? You're trying to control those outcomes. You're trying to control the speed of them. You're trying to control the deliverability, and it's crippling sometimes.
Huh.
So when you relinquish the control is for me it's like when I finally let something go, it's because that I know that I put the work in before I let it go.
So let me ask you this: so when it comes to okay, we're at this point. What are you doing today to one stay in touch with your body and feeling that burnout? But what are you doing today just to keep yourself grounded to to avoid that burnout of being a surprise?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's being able to recognize the flags that happen before it's like full burnout, because to me full burnout is like in the fetal position in the corner, like it's not good.
No.
But being able to recognize like, oh man, I avoided responding to this email when I could have just done it really quick,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been 2 days now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a flag. Like being like, I just sat here looking at my computer for 30 minutes instead of doing anything because I didn't know where to start because my to-do list is too big. That's a sign of burnout. And for me, it's like, what do I feel in my body? I feel anxious, my chest gets tight, and I feel like it feels like everything is zoomed in, instead of being able to see the full picture. It feels like you're only able to see like what's directly in front of you instead
Mm-hmm.
of being able to see your whole room or your whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's like that's classic signs in my body where I'm like, oh man, my chest is really tight when I'm thinking about responding to this email, or my chest is really tight like going into this meeting because I didn't prepare enough or whatever it might be. Like that to me is like, oh, let's notice this. Let's put a little check next to that feeling like, oh, that might be a sign of burnout.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like I didn't respond to this email. Like that might be a sign of burnout. Like it's like, let's start gathering the data,
Mm-hmm.
and then how can we get back into our body instead of just living in the future or just living like, 12 inches in front of our face,
Yeah.
you know?
So like when you're discovering that, let's say like today you had an email, you're like, yeah, I'm avoiding this email. How do you tackle that situation today, knowing what you know versus what you used to know 5 years ago, even? So 5 years ago, probably a week long to answer the email. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, that's a great
But
question.
today, knowing what you know and how you can measure your temperature of your body and what you're experiencing, how do you
So when I'm like noticing like, oh man, like I might be getting to the burnout point, or like I'm definitely on my way to the burnout point, it's like cool, let's pause. Let's do something that I can control completely. Like let me go make my bed, or let me go clean up the house really quick. Like something where it's still, you're still doing
Yep.
something, you're still achieving something, but it's like simple.
Yep.
It's like, let me clean up my desk really quick and then let me see how I feel if I can respond to this email. So like I have these little things where I'm like, ugh, like I might be feeling this. So let me take a break. Let me pause. Let me pause the work world for a second because nobody's gonna die
Yeah. Right.
if I take
Is
a
it
10-minute break.
keep I want to put a little pin in that one, right? Nobody's gonna die, but keep on.
So it's like nobody's gonna die, so let's take a pause from work. Let me go like do the dishes really quick, or let me vacuum the house, like something that like also needs to get done but is like, such a small priority on your
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
It's like let me just start with like something that's not related to work and just has been waiting for me to get to it. So it's like it's still like working, and then once I complete that, like I get that feeling of okay, I feel a little bit better now that like my space is clean. I
Yeah.
feel a little bit better now that like I just did this thing that I need to do. Like I shipped something out or like responded to whatever, a text from a friend.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like let me, now that I feel that, like I feel a little bit better. Let me see if I feel like approaching this email again. If I don't, then it's like continue.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do something else.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well said. I mean, I've experienced that. One of the things that you said is to stick a pin in it is nobody's gonna die.
Yep.
So for me, it was like when I worked 14 hours a day, I was working literally every minute, every second of that day to not be able to sit idle, not to be able to even just go to the dishes, even though dishes isn't sitting idle. To me, I wasn't working on a business.
Mm.
I was working on my dishes. Well, that can, I can do that 3 in the morning. I can't do that during the day. So to be able to stick, again, just to be able to just escape that in a way of not avoiding doing what you have to do, but just escape it. And yeah, it's gonna be okay.
Right.
But dude, when you're just like, I think we're built the same way. Like you just got to keep going 100 miles an hour to get to that goal. It's not really about the goal. It's just if I'm not busy, I'm not productive.
Mm. If I'm not busy, I'm not productive.
Jonathan would be happy about busy. Busy is the enemy of strategy, right?
Busy is the enemy of strategy. Yeah. If I'm not busy, I'm not. Did you say I'm not happy?
No, I said if I'm not busy, I'm not productive.
If I'm not busy, I'm not productive. What does busy mean, though?
So, right, that's a lot. For me, it's busy is not necessarily just yeah, I guess it could be feel like I'm in motion with something, the business, but if I'm not applying my time on my business or my businesses or a customer issue or a challenge, to me, if I'm not doing that through every hour of the day, I'm not being productive.
That's interesting because then it's a question of impact.
Yeah.
What's going to make the most impact to your business? Is it this busy work, or is it like,
Nope. I've
or is it being healthy? Like,
as being healthy. And I've gotten a lot better at that. But that goes to burnout.
mm-hmm.
You know, it was a lie just being fed to me by me that if I wasn't doing something, if I wasn't responding to this email or somebody called me and I didn't take care of it right there, I was just failing. Yeah. And that just goes right to burnout and you just collapse.
And it goes to self-worth
It
as
goes to
well.
self worth. You just beat yourself up.
Yeah. So how do you
So,
prevent burnout?
so for me, um, I've been it's day. It's creating rhythms. Um, during those episodes, I just didn't have a rhythm. I'd get up, the first thing I would do is work. I wouldn't even take a shower, I wouldn't brush my teeth, I wouldn't even get a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
I'd
I know what that's like
jump
too.
on to work.
Yep.
And then, my break would be, okay, take a shower, get some coffee,
Yep.
but make that last, 30 minutes
Right.
because you got to work. Today, I got more of a rhythm. I wake up, I, I, I take a cold shower. That's what I,
Cold shower.
yep.
Okay.
Well, I take a normal shower, but then I turn it on cold
Yep.
as I can
For
for
30 seconds or whatever.
as long as I can
Yeah.
to kick those endorphins in.
Yep.
That's the first thing I do. Then I get my cup of coffee. Um, I meditate, I pray, and then I read. And all that takes probably about an hour and a half. And that starts anywhere between 6:30 and 7. So, and then I take a 10, 15-minute break and then I start work. Where what that does is it gets me grounded. That
Mhm.
meditation just gets you grounded, gets you in touch with yourself. And then throughout the day, I mean, I used to never take a lunch. And now, even though I maybe not eat lunch, which is not healthy, I still take that break. I'll go on a walk or, I'll play with my dog or, I'll go run an errand, which, you know, I'll make sure I take that pause. And then I'm done at 5 or 6. I'm done. And the rest of the night's mine, no matter spending time with my family or not. But it's that rhythm that I set.
Yep.
And then at the
Having a
end,
structure. Yeah.
yeah, and then at the end of the day, I just write down what I accomplished. What are the things I wish I could have done better, but not on a way where I'm beating myself up. It's just, hey, I wish I could do better on this. So top of mind, but what did I achieve today?
Yeah.
So I'm on that rhythm, and that's really helped me be more grounded and be more attentive, feeling the body as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about you?
For me, it's been I use like an AI calendar and I like program my habits into it.
Not
So
you, not AI. I know which one you're using too.
yeah. So it's like so I put everything that I want to do in there. And then anytime anyone wants to schedule a meeting with me or whatever, like I send them that specific link through this calendar. Or like if someone just calls me without scheduling a meeting with me, I'll just be like, "Hey, we didn't have a meeting scheduled. I'm in the middle of something right now. Here's the link if you need to
Yep.
schedule a meeting with me." Um, but for me, it's like, yeah, mornings are sacred. Like 7 a.m. is when I wake up, and then I just like take my time. I try not to look at my phone for the first 30 minutes of being awake.
In fact, I put my phone away from me. It's not even next to my bed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have mine next to my bed, but yeah, I try not to look at it though. So like I'll wake up and do my thing, and then I'll go work out like 8 to 9, work out at the gym, and then like 9 to 9:30, like I'll have coffee and like connect with my partner,
Yep.
and we'll just sit there and talk. And then 9:30, like I'll work and like get back to work or get to work at that point, and then
Right.
do all the things. And then like around 12 or 12:30 is like when I'll pause everything, go take a shower, like go sit on the hammock or like go take a walk around the block or something, and then come back. So it's having that structure though is exactly what you're saying, like having that rhythm.
Yeah. That rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you say, like, for somebody that like might not be able to have that ability, because you and I are both entrepreneurs and we've been able to kind of make our own schedule. For someone that doesn't have their own schedule, how would you, like, what would you say to
Um,
them to like get this in here?
Even though, I mean, whatever that is, like you got to be to work at 8 and you got to be done at 5. And, whether you're out there and I'm talking about all levels of different type of employment, you could be electrician, or you can be a trash collector, or you can be a lawyer, or you can be a doctor, right? You still have to be there on time, and it's not your time in a sense of being able to control that. However, you still can control what you do before and during your day and then after your day. I got a good friend, he's a doctor, and we were just talking about this very thing about, working out. And sometimes he said I go to work and I work first thing in the morning, but at night it's sacred.
Mm-hmm.
It's sacred time for me to go work out. So you still have, we talked about no control, but you still have control over how you spend your time. And you got to be, to me, is you got to be mindful about it and you got to be intentional.
Yeah.
Because even though you may not have control of your time between, let's just say 8 to 5, besides maybe an hour lunch, you still have control of your time before and after. And you got to make sure that you take everything you can to make that work for your advantage.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I mean, it's all you have. And it's not bad. It's just got to be intentional. To
Yeah.
your earlier comment, you have to make that decision to be intentional.
Yeah. Intent is a really good word.
Yeah.
It's all about intent.
So when you look at burnout and you look at what we kind of talked about in the sense of our own journeys, you know, I also believe some of the things we're talking about could be, you know, um, destigmatized.
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, you look at how we're talking about creating rhythm and talking about our challenges of ups and down and even depression or just fighting through the challenges of avoiding burnout, but it becomes a bit personal, right? We're being a little bit open, which I'm totally cool with. But is that accepted in today's workforce, in today's culture? I'm thinking of some of my attorney friends. I mean, can they really take a break? I got a friend who just works like a dog for his clients.
Hmm.
And if he, is that being looked down upon to be able to take time for yourself to make sure you're healthy as men and women, but as men?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what you're asking is like, are you less of a man if you don't work as much sometimes? Because that's like how it can feel, right? Like that's how it can
Yeah.
feel. Like
Yeah.
it feels like me, like, oh, I'm taking this time to myself, so I'm less of a man. I would argue that it makes you more of a man if you have those boundaries in place,
Mhm.
because that's what it is really. It's boundaries. Like from this time to this time, I'm doing this
Yep.
because I know that it helps my mindset and I know that it helps my body. I know that helps me feel better, you know?
Mhm.
And that's what I would say to that is like, I would actually say that makes you more of a man because you're more in touch with what you need. And
Yeah.
we all have needs and we all have requirements that make us better people and it makes us more authentic, you know? It makes us show up to work better even. It makes us work harder when I have more headspace to think about more things.
Well said. You can actually get more done in less time,
Exactly.
and the quality
Yes.
time with your partner is more. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I still feel like our culture is challenges that, but I agree with you
The
about.
culture pushes it, man. Like they push this like this hustle culture.
Mhm.
Like they just push it like 4 hours of sleep, like just keep working, keep working. It's like, no, I can do way more work in a shorter time if I'm feeling better about myself than I could otherwise, you know, like if I'm just on this freaking work schedule,
Yeah.
you know?
Even AI even expounds that even better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I could learn more AI platforms,
The AI
whatever it
platforms,
might
right?
be,
It's
you
not
know?
my therapist, but
It's not my therapist. Still go to therapy.
yeah, oh, absolutely. But AI is not my therapist. However,
Yeah.
um, yeah, this has been really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about burnout, and I think we talked a lot more about more than burnout, but all this leads to that, and it's
Yeah.
just being, intentional with yourself, and really, our bodies tell us a lot, man. You just got to be able to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, paying
So,
attention to how you're feeling, paying attention to like if you're being avoidant. Yeah, that's all really good.
so I'll leave with this one last question.
Okay.
Um, we got guys out there that we have friends. I got friends like this, but they're not taking the break.
Hmm.
How do somebody's that's out there and they want the help, but they're just not willing to accept it yet, which is, again, that's up to them. But how do you help them along? What do we tell what do you tell that friend of yours that just needs to slow down a little bit?
Man, well, unfortunately, you can't help anyone unless they're willing to receive the
Yep.
help, you know? And that's what's always tough about it is like that it honestly goes back to what we were saying earlier, though. It's like, what's yours and what's mine,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So if you have somebody that's asking you advice, or like you have somebody that you're like, hey man, as a friend, I've noticed you're not taking breaks, you're not taking time to yourself. Like, what are you doing for
Hmm.
yourself?
Yeah.
Um, if they are not in the headspace to hear that stuff, that's not on you, you know? So I think first and foremost, we need to recognize that. But if you have a friend that's just working themselves to the bone, and you have that relationship where you can be like, hey, I'm concerned about these things, friend. Um, I would say, what are you doing for yourself? You know, and like, how important are these things to get my friend back if they're like
Hmm.
in a hole, you know, like if they're isolating, if they're being a hermit, as I like to say, if they're being a hermit, how do you reach out? How do you reach these people? It's like, hey man, I've noticed we haven't hung out in like 2 months. Like, I've noticed you're just working 80 hours a week. Like, I'm just concerned.
Hmm.
I really hope you're doing something for yourself. You know, like, would you like to just go hang out and like watch a movie, or like be silent for a while? You know, like how can I like be there for you?
Yeah.
And just let them know you're concerned, I think, is the great opening question
Yeah.
for those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because if you have somebody that's like loves baseball, or like loves jujitsu, or loves something, you know, something like that, it's just like, when's the last time you've done that? Like, when's the
Yeah.
last time you played catch? When's
Watch
the last time you've
F1.
been to the gym?
Watch Formula One,
When's the
man.
last
That's
time
what.
you've seen a Formula One race?
Yeah.
You know, like all that kind of stuff. Because if it's been a while, they might not even know because they're so deep into it.
Well, my response to that would be to is when you have a friend that's not really willing to really accept that at that time is, and if you are that person, if you are that person, I was that person, just know it's okay to say something.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be crazy. I think I shared, I don't know if it was the last podcast or maybe a conversation we had. I said it to a friend at lunch. A guy I started building a relationship and, stuff with, but it's just like, he asked me how I was doing instead of saying, great, whatever. I just said, my rhythm's off.
yeah, yeah,
Well, he's been texting me ever since or emailing me ever since and saying, hey, what have you done for yourself today? So if you're struggling with that, just, it doesn't have to be profound. Just say, hey, I'm off.
yeah. No,
That's it.
exactly. You don't need to share your deepest, darkest, as long as you just
Yep.
say that you're in it. You know.
Cool, man.
Well, thanks, Mike. It's been another great episode. Anyone listening, please subscribe to this podcast, share it. That always helps. Go to inherentself.org for any of our events. We have our monthly Inherent Gentleman Society meetings the third Thursday of every month. You'll find that information on the website.
Yep.
We're also starting a new program here in November, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, but it'll be the first Wednesday of every month. You'll find all that information on inherentself.org. But just reach out to somebody, man. Subscribe to
Reach
this
out.
podcast and then
Yeah,
reach out to
subscribe to
them.
the podcast, and my only ask that I will ask at every after every episode. If you got something you want to talk about or you want to reach out and you're struggling or you know somebody that's struggling, it could be your partner, your husband, your son, or whatever, or your wife, even. Just, hey, we're here. Reach out if you want to hear something about something specific, or even get a certain person on the podcast. So,
Yeah, absolutely. We're always here.
cool.